Just in righteous indignation.
Hello and welcome to this extra special episode of The Dig, the podcast about the politics of race, class, sexuality, and other things that matter. I'm Corey.
I'm Alexis.
And we're righteously indignant.
Do you know who has me, maybe not indignant, but just a little bit ticked off right now? No, I'm indignant. I'm done with her.
Wendy Williams.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, so no.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to talk about, but go ahead.
Okay.
You tell me.
I'm going from, like, annoyance to disdain to outright loathing Gwyneth Paltrow.
Interesting. Is this about the food stamp thing?
Yes, and about how patronizing and condescending it was, and how bad she was at it with her 7 limes, and then how, like, dumb and like, oh, I failed on day 4, I ate licorice, but I'm giving money. I hate her. I hate her. And she had famous parents and her pretty little face, and she's famous for no good reason, and I want her to stop. I'm done with her.
Okay.
You like her or something?
No, I don't like her, but I don't hate her. Like, I think she's a talented actress.
Oh no.
She definitely comes from a place of privilege, that's for damn sure. And it's always there are always interesting results when people come from a place of privilege and try to, I guess, quote unquote, relate to the common folks. I mean, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's not good.
So it's never good.
Other people
I mean,
come
whatever.
From privilege and you barely know it, like an Ed Norton.
Right.
Or
wait, where does Ed Norton come from?
Oh, he's some huge rich family from Maryland. Is it the Rouses or is it? It's like, yeah, I think it's the Rouse family. Yeah. Okay, so he's from a family. I think it's the Rouse family in Maryland who like owns, entire developments and like malls and all sorts of. He's from a lot of wealth, and also Tony Goldwyn, I think is his name.
Yes, Tony Goldwyn is Goldwyn
of MGM.
Of MGM, yes. Yeah. Metro Goldwyn Mayer. Yeah. Yes.
But they aren't telling me goop. They aren't trying to tell me what to eat and how to live and what to buy. And I really need this $400 yoga mat, and I don't even know what she peddles because shut up.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay, then how was your week?
Fine. So let's talk about Bruce Jenner.
Nope, not there yet.
My week was fine. I'm starting a new diet tomorrow because it's cutting season. So I need you to see my abs this summer.
That's what cutting season means?
Yeah, it means I'm like cutting fat. So I
was worried you were like self-mutilating.
No.
Okay.
No, so yeah, that's the biggest news in my life. I'm cutting.
Okay, and not self-mutilating.
Not self-mutilating.
Don't worry, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the part where you ask me how my week was.
We're not done? I thought Gwyneth Paltrow was your entire week. Okay, how was your week?
F you. I'm allowed to rant and have a week.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I did the funniest gig ever.
Okay.
I did this wedding gig. Oh, I've done so many funny gigs, so maybe not ever, but this is cracking me up. So, okay. It's behind this big fancy hotel, so there's like a nice garden, but then there are more hotel rooms on the other side of it. So there's these people on their balconies watching as we set up for a wedding, and it's like you can tell it's elegant and there's beautiful chairs and flowers, and there's people in their pajamas out on the balcony like smoking a cigarette and like drinking a 40 and eating Lay's potato chips, and it just feels like they're at the wedding with us because they're 10 feet away.
Is that what people do at nice hotels? They sit on the balcony and eat Lay's potato chips and smoke and drink their 40s? I can't explain it.
I guess they do because it was a pretty nice hotel. It really was.
Weird.
I will say there was like an old classic rock band performing. So maybe there were some people there who were splurging to go see this band. Mm-hmm. And maybe that brought in a different clientele.
Maybe.
Okay, but that's not even the funny part.
Oh.
So this wedding is this beautiful young couple. They're both grooms. One of them is wearing a fly blue tailored suit with really nice leather shoes. And the other one comes over to be like, we're so grateful you're here. Thank you so much for playing. La la la. It's a very sweet couple. And I'm in a string quartet. And we are told that it's a very short ceremony and it's a little bit non-traditional. And that's like, okay. But so there's this like rando white preacher who gets up and goes, Okay, thank you for joining us. My wife is going to be up here with me. Come up here, Betty. She walks up and just stands there. No explanation for why she's there. Okay, and now quartet may begin. And we're just like, we had a cue. That's not how you start us, but okay. So we start playing, and the couple walks up, and that part's sweet. And then there's this, okay, well, I won't even tell you about her. Okay, so then, because it'll come up. So then the ceremony's happening, and there's some normal stuff. Here's a ring. What do I vow to keep you by my side, blah, blah, blah. Okay, then the pastor, kind of out of nowhere, goes, this couple. Oh, first he mispronounces their names really badly, and they laugh every time he tries to say their names, but they don't correct him, so he's just butchering these long Thai names. It's very clear he can't pronounce anything. Okay, he goes, what I want you to know is that people are like trees, and trees are strong, but they are stronger when they have roots in the ground.
What trees don't have roots?
Yeah.
Okay. Move on.
And then he's like, and also have roots. And because he can't say their names.
That's their name. Okay.
That's how good it was.
All right.
And they also have roots. And their roots are in Thailand. And Thailand is far away. And their parents are old.
Are they American, though?
Yeah. These guys are American, yeah.
Okay.
Just stay with me.
Okay, but okay. That's just a Pakistan male to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just like, no, he's American.
Yeah.
Okay, but all right.
But they're trees and they have roots, and their roots are in Thailand.
Yeah, even though they're American, but okay.
Right. But their parents live in Thailand, and that's far away.
Okay.
But this is him talking. He literally says that, and he goes, and they're old. And then he looks at them and he goes, right? They're old.
Ha!
And
he looks at the grooms?
Yeah.
Ha!
And they're like, yeah. He goes, so it was not possible for them to be here, their parents, because it is a long flight. It's a long flight, right? He turns to the grooms and says, I mean, it's a long flight, right? And they're like, yeah.
Can everybody, is he like wearing a microphone? Everybody
No,
can hear
it's
this?
just that small of a wedding. There's maybe 15 people.
Yeah.
It's tiny. Yes, you can hear everything. Then he says, in their absence, the best I could do was bring this old Thai woman from Santa Fe. Please come up and bless this couple. And this little older woman, who's apparently Thai, walks up to the couple, unaided, might I add. Nobody tries to help her walk, and she's really old. And so she's kind of hobbling up, and then she says a few things to them, and then she sits back down, and again, nobody helps her. And then he says, may I now pronounce to you, and they're married, yay. You can kiss the groom. That was the wedding, I'm not kidding.
This is the guy they chose to have officiate their wedding.
I don't know. I feel like maybe he just came with the hotel. It seemed like he does not do this very often. I cannot explain any of it.
Okay, well, okay, it's their wedding. I mean, whatever.
They were like, it's short, it's casual, it's whatever. That's how the couple seemed to me.
Yeah.
So they were like, I mean, we're all that matters is we're getting married and we're gonna go have a fun party.
That's cool.
Yeah, but the pastor was just so odd, and the best I could do was get this old woman, this old lady from Santa Fe. She's Thai.
Did they know the woman?
No. No.
But why did she have to come? Then why did she have to come from Santa Fe? There aren't old Thai women in San Diego?
This is the only one he could get. And then the first violinist says to the second violinist, did he just say old lady? And the second violinist was like, yep. Yep, that's what he said. He's like, here is an old lady. It was just the least graceful.
Wow. Okay. Well, I have nothing to say about that because it's just absurd on its own. It needs no commentary.
And it's real life. This happened a week ago or in last week.
Stranger than fiction, let me tell you.
It sounds like I have to be making part of it up, but I'm totally going to send copies of this to the quartet, and they're going to be like, nope, happened.
You really do need to have that website, imnotcrazy.com. For all your stories, you need to provide documentation for all your stories.
Corey's referencing this history I have with telling stories that people don't think are real, and so then I provide proof because I don't want people to think I'm crazy and exaggerating everything.
Yeah.
So I literally, years ago, told a group of people, we were talking about weird things we had just heard or weird things in the news, and I said, I just heard that a woman got breast implants that were like iPods, and they had digital music that she could listen to, and they're in her breast implants. And the whole room just looked at me. Just looked at me like,
whatever, you're crazy. That's not true.
Okay. So then I emailed everybody the real article with like sources and
citations.
Yep.
Like footnotes and like a bibliography.
Yep.
I cite my sources.
And so that would go on I'm Not Crazy.
I'm Not Crazy.com.
Or whatever.
Whatever it is, yeah. Okay, let's talk about Bruce Jenner. All right.
Man, woo!
So first of all, on this very extra special episode of The Dig, okay, so first of all, everyone knows, the whole world knows that Bruce Jenner came out as transgendered, and he is still using the he pronouns for now. So we will use the he pronouns, and whenever he wants to use the feminine pronouns, I'm sure he will let the world know, and we will start using the feminine pronouns, and that's great.
He also came out as a Republican, by the way.
Right, which I have no comment on. It's like, whatever, fine.
But did you hear,
yes.
What's her name? The woman interviewing him.
Oh, Diane
Blondie,
Sawyer?
yes.
Yeah.
Diane Sawyer. Did you like my sign language for Blondie?
Yes.
Diane Sawyer?
Yes.
She goes, you're a Republican? And he's like, yeah? Is that a problem? But I liked how incredulous she was.
Yeah.
I mean, he's white. He's super, super wealthy. He was married to a Mormon at one point. It's not that shocking.
Yeah.
He does motivational speaking to like business people, corporate organizations.
And as time goes by, that might change.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, I think it will, but whatever. I'm sure there are other transgender Republicans out there, and that's whatever. That's their mistake to make. They're free to make that mistake if that's what they want.
I love that take. That's great.
But anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about. I want to talk about specifically people's reactions to it, and specifically the reaction that people have that like the idea that people have this is all just for publicity.
Okay, when she even asked that in the interview, I thought it was crazy. Now, I can imagine people saying it was all for publicity like a year ago.
Right.
But as he's saying, I am transgendered, I am a woman, it's been a struggle for me, I would almost cross it out on my list of questions.
Oh, yeah, I understand why she asked it, but the fact that she... I guess the fact that she had to ask it at all is kind of upsetting. But I guess I understand why she asked it. But then for people to continue to say, oh, well, it's just for publicity, and it's like, whatever. It's like, really? Like, anyway, it's just not... First of all, if you wanted publicity, there are other... If you wanted more publicity, there are other things that he could have done that would have been...
more publicity, better publicity, and easier.
And easy, yes. Exactly.
And less expensive and less painful.
Exactly. Also, Wendy Williams, who I think epitomizes this whole idea of this whole pop group of people who thinks that he's just doing it for publicity, is a fucking bitch and needs to die. So
okay, those are strong words.
Okay.
Also, I think we're avoiding bitch.
She doesn't. Oh, that's right. We are.
We're working on that.
Yeah, that's true. We're not. She's not a bitch.
But I know what you mean. You're searching for a word because she is really a piece of work. I can't stand her.
I was gonna say something else, but I won't. Yes, I'm searching for a word.
Yeah.
Because my first thought was like, okay, yes, she is that, but I can't use that. My second thought, bitch, obviously, I'm not using that anymore, so I can't say that. But and obviously, she doesn't need to die. So that was a hyperbole. But
she's just so
what's
damned malicious and vindictive.
Yes.
And she profits off of it.
Yes.
And it's cheap.
Just one of the worst human beings ever. Just awful. Okay, let's read. Let's go over what she's. Let's dissect what she said.
Oh, I haven't heard it yet.
Okay. She said, these are quotes. We'll dissect it. I feel duped by Bruce. I'm going to tell you why. When we started watching the show with the whistle and they were all cute and that woman would boss Bruce around and the girls would run roughshod over him and I felt compassion for Bruce and he was supposed to be the rock of the family and I don't feel dumped because he is turning into a woman.
Duped.
Oh, yes. That's okay. It's a misquote. And I don't feel duped because he is turning into a woman. I feel duped because he is the same fame whore as the rest of the family. So basically, Wendy Williams had this expectation of Bruce as being like the one sane person in the family. And by him coming out as transgendered, he, I guess in her eyes, is now just the same fame-hungry whore as the rest of the family. And she feels disappointed by that.
I'd also like to go back and see what she said about him 8 seasons ago, when she's like, I thought of him as the sane one. And I thought of him... I can't wait.
Okay, like, first of all, let's dissect this a little bit. Okay, first of all, Bruce Jenner coming out as transgendered is totally all about you, Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
Right? And it's all about how you feel.
Yeah.
Okay. And second of all, as if somebody who is transgendered can't... So now, because he's come out as transgendered, he is no longer sane. Mm-hmm. He is no longer The Rock. He is no longer strong. And he's only doing it for fame. He's a fame whore. All of those things are completely problematic, and fuck you, Wendy Williams. Then she says, I feel duped, you know what I mean? And so because of that, if I was just a normal citizen and not the host of the Wendy Williams show, if I didn't have to watch it, I wouldn't watch it. Whatever, Wendy, fucking don't watch it then.
Also, we don't believe you,
Obviously,
but okay.
Yeah, we don't believe you, but whatever. I was pissed at Bruce because he's supposed to be the rock and solid. He's the one who wrangles the girls in when they do too much. Bruce has a daughter who is 17 and is involved with a 25-year-old father of one, and she's a high school dropout, and she's messing with her face and her boobs and her behind way too early in life. Bruce
wait till you do it like I did it.
Exactly.
Super
pot,
fake.
Meat kettle.
Yes.
Like,
okay.
Glass houses. Wendy Williams, glass houses. Put that stone down. Bruce has bigger fish to fry than turning into Belinda.
Ew.
That's just disgusting hate speech. And then she says, no, one more thing. Oh, one more thing. Okay. You know, I am all for and very happy for people who live in their own truth, including Bruce transitioning. But he should have thought about that before having all the kids. You can't tell me Kylie is not the only one not going along with this. Belinda, shame on you. So transgendered people are not allowed to have children. They're not allowed to have families. It's not like... And it's like he chose to have children before he transitioned, as if it was a choice, as if it wasn't a journey, as if it wasn't something he had to discover about himself, and as if it wasn't something painful and arduous and heavy and something that took him, what is he, 65 now?
Yeah.
65 years to come to terms with.
Okay, is this from before she saw the interview?
I believe it was like the day before.
Because after, this would be exceptionally heartless.
Right.
And it was very obvious that his kids were largely very supportive, and a couple of them are struggling with it, and he's nothing but understanding for that, because it is really disruptive to what you thought you knew. Right? That would be a big change. So he's like, I understand that Chloe, for example, feels like everything's changing. She's losing so much. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, he still loves her. She still loves him. They're going to work through that, I feel. I mean, what the hell do I know about the Kardashians? But
right.
But when they showed his older kids, they seemed so supportive and so happy for him. Mm-hmm. And I thought I like that we're doing it on his terms, that Diane Sawyer called him Bruce and called him him.
Yeah.
As long as that's what he wants to do. And this is goodbye to that person. And now he'll reemerge as a she and a her and a whatever the name is. And I thought it was really compelling television. I thought it was very relatable and not relatable like I can see what he feels like. But I think it gives a window into how sincere it is and how painful it is for so many people and how it took him all these years. And I think people who maybe have never met somebody transgender or think it's so weird and crazy and foreign can watch this and go, oh, this is very sincere. He's really struggled with this. This is a real thing. All of these doctors are agreeing. All of these experts are agreeing. And it was really... I thought beautifully told, and I'm sure on other episodes of 2020 they have and they will talk about differing views, and they'll have religious zealots who say that this is an abomination or whatever, but on this episode they really dedicated it to compassion and inclusion.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done.
I did too. I agree. I thought it was really, really well done. And I am encouraged to see that the majority of reactions that I've seen to it, at least in my sphere of interactions with people, have been overwhelmingly positive and supportive. And the backlash against Wendy Williams and people that have expressed views like her has been swift and severe, which it should be. And which is encouraging, I think. And for me, I feel encouraged by that. Not just the backlash, but just encouraged by people's positive reactions in general. And I want to say too that regardless of whatever personas are happening on that reality television show, first of all, everybody should realize by now that that's all fake, that every reality show is fake. But just because somebody...
And that one in particular is very staged and scripted. And we have example after example. And it's... I mean, I guess kind of good on them that they figured out how to market it and make money and whatever, but it's so fake. It's super contrived. Exactly.
And that I think people need to recognize that all human beings are much more complicated and nuanced and subtle than any of us would ever see, whether it's through the lens of a 30-minute reality television show once a week, or it's through the lens of newspapers, a story we read in the newspaper, or something that we see on television, something that we see in the news on television, or through an anecdote that we're told, or even through conversation that we're having face to face with someone. I mean, when you're sitting down and you're having conversation with somebody face to face, you're still only seeing a portion of who that person is. So for somebody to say, oh, your whole life is this reality show, and you are only... like, your whole identity is only this vapid, superficial, fame whore reality show, and therefore you don't get to have complicated and subtle feelings like dealing with transitioning and like dealing with feeling that you do not identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth, is just completely dismissive and doesn't account for the entire human experience that all human beings have. Does that make any sense whatsoever, what I said?
Yes.
Okay.
And you know who comes out of this looking nuanced and multifaceted in weird ways, for me anyway, is, for example, Kris Jenner, who knew in the beginning to some degree and had this they had this passionate love well into her knowing he had taken hormones for 5 years, and they were like super in love and a partnership and a team. And I think it was like too disruptive to her reality. It was too hard to face the transition. And so that's at least a big part of why they split up. But that is interesting to me because I would not have known that she would have stuck by him. I think of her as being pretty ruthless and do anything for money and, how can I sell this? How can I make money off of this?
Yeah, but again, that's pretty much, but again, that's pretty much what I was just saying, is that we have this image of people.
Right. No, that's what I'm adding to it. No, I'm agreeing and adding to it.
Yes.
But, okay, here's one little thing before I say my other person. One little thing is, Diane Sawyer definitely said we asked all 3 wives to comment, and gave the quotes of the first 2 wives and said Kris Jenner declined to comment. And then we have Kris Jenner saying, fuck you, Perez Hilton, I was not asked to comment. How dare you say I didn't say anything? So somebody's lying there, and I don't think it would be Diane Sawyer, because she's a journalist and has records.
Yes.
So that's going to be interesting.
Yes.
There's going to be some excuse. That email never got to her or something.
Yeah.
Okay, but another person who you have to acknowledge is multifaceted and complicated and nuanced, and in spite of myself, I have all these glimmers of love for him, is Kanye West. Sometimes I hate him, and sometimes I love him. And he's so, he can be so impulsive and so crazy and say crazy shit. But he comes out as the person who turned Kim around, who's now the #1 supporter of her dad. Yeah. Transitioning. Yeah. And he was the one who says, you are nothing if you are not you. And he keeps doing that. I'm like, God, he's annoying and he's so full of himself and he's so arrogant. And then he shows up and says just the right thing or defends somebody at just the right moment. And I go, damn it, he's nuanced. I can't just hate him.
Yeah, true.
He has a lot of characteristics I like.
I still think that Beyonce really did have the best video of the year.
She of course did.
Of course did. And he was totally right.
Yes.
It was just he was completely inappropriate with his timing.
Yes, absolutely.
What he should have done is just gone, like, after the award show, gone on every single fucking television show and been like, Taylor Swift is great, but this is fucked up. We have a young white woman winning an award that an accomplished black woman should have won, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, no offense to Taylor, but, like, I'm going to express my views, and we live in an inherently racist society, and listen to the Dig podcast because they're dead on.
I would have loved it if Kanye said that. That would have been awesome, especially because it would have been years before we existed.
Yes.
So that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. God. What if Kanye West had a time machine?
You know, if anybody does, it's him.
I feel like that would be an amazing cartoon. Kanye West and his giant time machine.
Do you know what that is like, but better?
What?
The House of Cosby.
Yes, that is exactly like the House of Cosby's.
Ooh.
It's the House of Cosby's.
Yo, Rudy. And it's even funnier now that he was so upset by that he shut it down and did the cease and desist and had his lawyers sick on them. When now we realize he's like this super horrible criminal who assaulted and drugged and assaulted like 40 women or something. And he was so upset about this dumb little cartoon that wouldn't have gotten any attention if he hadn't have sued them.
Yes.
That is hilarious. What a wounded...
So, to the people who made House of Cosby...
We love you.
We love you, and I think your next project should be Kanye West and his great time machine, or you can name it whatever you want, but Kanye West and his time machine.
That would be awesome.
It would be amazing.
Another moment... Okay.
I think what it should be is just a series of episodes where Kanye West goes back in time and interrupts famous speeches to speak his mind.
And it's just like... Oh my God.
He could interrupt Nixon's resignation speech.
Yes.
He could interrupt...
The Emancipation Proclamation. No, wait, that's the wrong... Gettysburg Address.
Gettysburg Address. He could interrupt...
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Yes, he could do that. He could interrupt... what else could he interrupt?
I Have a Dream. Did you ever say that one?
Yeah, no. He could interrupt I Have a Dream. He could interrupt...
It's limitless.
It's limitless. It really is.
A lot of people have talked. Yeah. Kanye could interrupt all of them.
A lot of people have talked. That is the truest statement. Of all the world, that is the truest statement. A lot of people have talked.
That's why I said it.
That is nothing if not true.
I can't cry. Okay. Also, he was right about Bush and black people.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of brilliant because that was the right time to say it. When he knew he could get away with it and say it unedited, he knew that it was a live show and it was in the moment and it was real and it was raw. And poor Mike Myers. Do you remember his face?
No.
Oh, so they were doing like a live fundraiser.
I don't even kind of remember this whole thing. So you just remind me of the whole thing.
They were doing a live fundraiser with
Mike Myers and Kanye West.
Well, that would be really funny if it was just the two of them.
Yes. Well, now Mike Myers has to be a special guest on Kanye West's Time Machine.
God. Okay. All these people were doing like a Farm Aid,
is this like a telethon thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there were all these performances of big acts.
Yeah.
And it was people called in and donated money, and there were even celebrities answering the phone because everybody was trying to get together. What can we do to raise awareness and money for the victims of Hurricane Katrina? And then Mike Myers and Kanye West, for at least a portion of it, are kind of the hosts. Like, that was great. Look who's answering the phone. Look how much money we've raised. Let's cut to blank. And Kanye West is like, George Bush doesn't care about black people. On camera, unedited, live on television.
Yes.
And it was great, and he said it really powerfully and sure, and it was fantastic, honestly. But the look on poor Mike Myers' face, and he's like, camera, teleprompter, cameraman. It's the most horrible 6 seconds of anyone on camera ever.
Oh my God, I gotta look that up.
And you're just like, oh God, poor Mike Myers. He's just, and he did not know what to say, and I think he might even be Canadian. Is he Canadian?
Yes, he is Canadian.
Poor guy, he just did not know what to do. He just, It was good.
Nice.
And Kanye, okay, he made that ridiculous video with Kim, but then he responded with like love and humor when James Franco and Seth Rogen, is that who?
Yes.
Spoofed it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I love it. I think it's hilarious. So I just never know what to think about Kanye. And he says so much self-aggrandizing, like it's when he talks about himself and it's all like third person and grandiose that I get like, oh my God, get over yourself.
Yeah.
But he's not creative. He's not a terrible musician. Yeah. Okay, whatever. I have evolving opinions on the nuanced Kanye West.
Yes.
He's a nuanced person.
He is a nuanced person.
God dang, did I take this off track? I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't really have much more to say
About Bruce Jenner
or Wendy Williams or the reaction to or anything. I just wanted to talk about it because it's important.
It's important, and I think it was really compelling.
It was. Actually, this is the one thing I wanted to say too, is that they were really great about differentiating the difference between gender identity and sexuality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they did it really at like a very simplified way.
Right.
For people who just don't know what to do with these things. You know,
Right.
have never talked about it, have never heard about it.
Yes. And this is what we have talked about this on the podcast before too, that gender identity and we talked about it in terms of sexuality and gender nonconformity.
Right.
Right. But also gender identity as well are not the same thing.
Right.
Gender nonconformity, gender identity, and sexuality are not the same thing. Sometimes they overlap, but not but they are not what's the word? They're not the same thing. They're not mutual
correlative.
Yeah. Yeah.
They aren't.
They're not intertwined. They're not
right,
connected.
Right.
You know.
They
Yeah.
can overlap and they cannot overlap. And
Right.
it's, yeah. Like, I thought it was interesting when Diane Sawyer said, "Are you gay?" And I don't know if when she said gay, he inferred, "Are you a gay man?"
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting to me because I think she meant, okay, so then are you gay if you're a woman and you love women? And he was like, "No, I've never been with a man."
Yeah.
So I think as a part of his transition, he's going to be growing in his, not understanding, but like in his realization of his actual self. And when he truly feels like a woman, and if he does have a relationship, it would be a gay relationship.
Right.
And apparently Kim said, "Wait, are you a tomboy?" Or somebody said, "Are you a tomboy?" And he was like, "I guess I am." Because he's a woman, but he likes all of these like really physical things. And
Sure.
yeah. No, I thought it was really great. I wasn't going to watch it because I was worried it would be like sensationalized, but it was, I read all this commentary afterwards that it was so good and so compelling, and then I watched it and I loved it. It's great.
This reminds me of, and maybe we should end with this. A while ago, you were asking me, this is before we even started the podcast, about the guy who like lives down the street from you. And you were like, "I'm not quite sure what's going on with him."
He works near me. So I see him going in and out of work all the time.
Yeah. Tell our listeners what the story was or what your impression was.
Well, and it was like out of a very like naive curiosity. It's not like I actually care and it doesn't impact my daily life.
No, it was just curiosity. Yeah.
I see this person who is a man who is masculine looking and wears women's clothes seemingly exclusively to work every day, which I thought was a pretty like strong kind of line in the sand because he's a business person and has an office front and like greets people at the door. So it's like this is who I am. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was interesting. Like that says, I'm not going to say what business he's in, but he works with people all day, every day. And that just says like, I am willing to risk any customer who has a problem with this or who finds this off-putting. And it's just interesting because he definitely like takes certain efforts to do some things that would maybe be perceived as feminine, like carrying a purse or doing his nails, but he does other things like keep facial hair and leg hair and like not put tights over it. And so there's just like this interesting combination of characteristics. And so I was asking you, like, what do you think? Is he a cross-dresser? Is he transitioning, but really, really, really slowly? Is he?
Yeah. Well, and then we got into a really interesting conversation about all the different colors and levels and shades of gender nonconformity, I guess, right? So, and we were trying to find definitions for all these things. First of all, is he a drag queen? Is he a cross-dresser? Is he transvestite? Is he transgendered? Is he gender non-conforming? Or is he just a guy who wears a dress?
Yeah.
Right? He could be all of those things. Let's run down these definitions really, really quick. These are definitions that how I've come to understand these words, and they could be wrong, or some people could have other definitions for these things. And you can let us know on our Facebook page, or you can give us an email, and we can continue this discussion on another episode, which would be cool. But I think it's important, especially now that we, as a society, come to an understanding that all of these things are different, and sometimes they cross over and sometimes they don't, and there are different and people are free to have different identities and do different things and behave in different ways, and everything's okay. First of all, what is a drag queen? A drag queen, in my understanding, is a performer.
Yeah.
So somebody who doesn't identify as that gender, but puts on like an actor wearing a dress for a role.
Yeah.
That would be like a drag queen, right?
And they're often gay, but they don't have to be.
Right.
They could be transgendered, but they don't have to be.
Right.
And they often aren't. Mostly aren't.
Yeah.
But yeah, a performer.
And they only wear drag when they're performing. It's not
right.
Drag queens don't go around in their day-to-day life wearing drag.
Right.
First of all, because it's just a bitch to put on, because usually it's very elaborate makeup and costumes.
Watch one episode of Drag Race.
Right. They're adopting a character, right? So it's not meant for everyday life. And it's interesting because anytime, more than a few times, I've seen TV shows like something like CSI or Law and Order or whatever, where there will be a drag queen storyline. Like there's a murder in a drag club, and then like all the drag queens are suspects, and so they have to interview and blah 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 blah. And it's like, and they walk in and it's like the middle of the day, and they're like just like they go to visit like a drag queen at their apartment in the middle of the day, and they're like scrubbing the floors, and they're like in full drag, and it's like, no, that doesn't happen.
Right.
That doesn't happen. That's not what a drag queen is.
No.
So anyway, and it's funny because all these shows are shot in New York City, which has no shortage of gay people or people who are not that being gay and drag are necessarily intertwined, but they do often, drag queens are usually a product of the gay community, but that doesn't necessarily have to be that way. But there is no shortage of people who can consult on these TV shows who are from that community, right?
Yes.
So anyway, then what's the second thing?
I don't remember the order, but I know that you said cross-dressing.
So cross-dressing and transvestite, which to me are synonyms.
I was going to say those are the same. Okay.
Those are the same thing. And as far as I know, cross-dressers and or transvestites are people who derive sexual gratification from wearing the clothes of the opposite gender. And
I feel like they also used to include people who were transgendered, but society wouldn't kind of allow them to transition, or it wasn't like medically possible. Like for the longest time, these all got grouped together because of how you presented yourself. So if you were a woman who wore a suit, you were a transvestite. But if it were 100 years later, you'd probably be a man.
Right, exactly.
You would transition and be a man, not a woman in a suit.
Yeah.
So that, I think, confused people.
Yeah.
For a long, especially of an older generation.
Well, I think this is true with a lot of social movements, is that when they're not understood, they get lumped together, and the shades get the different shades of the humanity, I guess. The
different divisions within the group.
Different divisions within the group get lumped together, and because I guess it's easier for the dominant population to understand.
Yeah.
It's more. It's easier to digest.
Yeah.
I guess. But as these issues become more prominent and more light is brought to these, then we suddenly discover that there is more shades than just the one color that we've been dealing with this entire time.
What else did you say?
So that was transvestite.
Yeah.
So and then gender nonconforming.
Right.
Is just somebody who does not want to conform with two gender stereotypes that society places on them. And
maybe doesn't not want to, but just doesn't.
Or just doesn't. Yeah. Or doesn't. I mean, it could be a statement on their part. It could be a political statement. It could be for comfort. It could be for that's just how they feel.
Short hair, don't care. Seriously, this is a little bit gender nonconformist. People could assume that I'm gay or masculine or something because I have really short hair right now. It's so much easier. It's so easy to style. It dries so fast. So for me, it's totally ease.
Yep.
But I do feel that I'm perceived a little bit differently in the world. And I was perceived to be a lesbian at a winery not long ago.
Yep.
It did happen.
It did happen.
Because, like, the friend's husband was outside, and so we had a biracial baby, and we were 2 women, and they were just like, your baby is so cute. What a lovely family. And then we were like, oh. All right.
That's cool. Whatevs. So that was gender nonconforming. Another thing, gender nonconforming is just a guy in a dress, which there could be just a guy who wants to wear a dress, and he doesn't identify with any of these groups, and that's okay. Or a woman who just wants to wear pants. Yeah. But it's a little more radical for a guy to wear a dress than it is for a woman to wear pants at this time and this point in time.
But it's funny.
But it's the same thing. Some guys are just really fashion forward and they just want it. They have for a sense because especially you'll see this a lot in New York.
Has Kanye worn a dress?
It's possible.
He totally would.
I think Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith, wore a dress recently.
Yes. He did. Yes. That's true. But I could see Kanye because he's all haute couture kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, it could be just a fashion choice, and that's okay too. And then the last one is, I think the last one we listed was transgendered, which is, as we should all know by now, somebody who does not identify with the gender that they were assigned at birth. Mm-hmm. Which opens the doors for people who are born intersexed and maybe assigned a gender at their birth, and maybe they were assigned the wrong gender, or people who, like Bruce Jenner, were born complete physically, but their mind and their soul and their heart does not identify with the gender that their body was. Yep. That their body is. Yeah. Or that they present as.
This, I feel like, I never would have made fun of him having what I thought were like botched plastic surgeries for all those years and looking funny. Like, I take all of it back. I feel terrible. I had no idea. And now he looks great. He seems very genuine and like at peace with himself, and it all makes sense. And I felt a little bad for the different comedians who said things before he came out and made jokes about, like, I don't even remember what they said, but I think Conan O'Brien was one of them. People were quoted in the interview on the 2020. We're going to post this on the interwebs after we're done. Anyway, I felt kind of bad because now that he's transgendered, there's an explanation for it all, and it's not weird. But especially 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was some weirdness. It was like, why has he had all of this work done? And he had talked about it being botched surgery, or somebody had, because I'd read about how he had all these horrible botched plastic surgeries. And so I was all feeling bad for him and thinking he was weird looking. And now it turns out he took hormones for 5 years and had breasts and like, yeah, sorry. I didn't know.
It's okay. Nobody knew. It's all good.
Well, I'm apologizing directly to Bruce Jenner.
I know.
Sorry, Bruce.
Okay, well, that's it.
Can I name something I did?
Yes, go ahead.
I have a quick little dig.
Sure.
I just wanted to say that this woman, Siabatu Sane, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but she's the woman from Gambia who walked the entire Paris Marathon with a gigantic jug of water on her head, wearing a big sign that said, "Women in Africa walk this far to get potable water every single day." And she and her 2 daughters walk that distance, all carrying water so they can have drinkable water at home. And I just thought it was such a beautiful, deliberate show of activism. And, the photos and then the interviews afterwards, it was so smart and so well done. And driving the point home, You see this woman walking 26.2 miles with a sign, "We do this every day," carrying this water. Just thought it was really powerful, and so I wanted to say I really dig her, Siabatu Sane.
Yeah, she's awesome. I dig her too. I still dig pink also.
Okay, you can't keep using that one.
The color.
You've been digging that for weeks.
I know. Sorry.
Okay, you can write us at writethedigpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Reddit as The Dig Podcast. You can tweet us at tweetthedig.
You can find us on the web at thedigpodcast.com.
We're on every podcast app now, so you can listen to us on whatever one you use, and we could really use reviews. On Stitcher, you can review and rate individual episodes. You can also make comments to individual episodes on our website. On iTunes, we need the general reviews and ratings to help us expand our audience.
Please share and rate and subscribe and do all those things. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.